Carl here for Proav TV. So I'm on the Sennheiser stand at BVE to talk to Andy about the G4s from Sennheiser. So let's explain the G4s a little bit. I mean, what's the thinking behind updating the G3s?
So it's an opportunity to, as you say, update and refresh and introduce a few features. In fact, in some cases, reintroduce a few features with G4. So not a major change. Anybody who's familiar with G3 and even G2 will not find too many things that are surprising in the G4.
Why fix what's not broken?
Very much so. So we've got backwards compatibility with G3 and, as I say, even with G2 in the right frequency range. Lots of different frequency ranges where we're covering the whole of the usable UHF spectrum. Yeah, nothing too unfamiliar.
So obviously the G3s and now the G4s covered a wide range of uses. What are the particular products and the sort of the sub-ranges within the G4s?
So like G3 before it and even G2, we have a 100 series, 300 series and a 500 series with different features. Of particular relevance with the camcorder and video market, DSLR video market, are the body pack receivers. If we just take a look over here, for example, we've got two receivers to go on a camera. We've got the 100 series, which a lot of people are familiar with, but we've brought back the 500 series receiver. Difference being, on the 100 series we only have one audio output, a line output to feed the camera. On the 500 series receiver we have a headphone output as well. And that's a change. We had that on G2.
So what sort of thing would that be used for?
So when you're using this on your camera, same way you check your viewfinder for the framing of the shot, it's very important to listen to what your audio is like. And obviously on a lot of cameras you do have the opportunity to listen to the audio via the camera. Sometimes, however, it's useful to be able to check it at the source on the receiver. Sometimes you're using the receiver with a separate device, not necessarily on the camera, so it's useful to have a headphone socket.
I find it can also be really useful for problem solving. If you're getting something wrong, like power interference or something like that, it can help you narrow down where the problem is. Is it in the cable? Is it in the wireless thing?
Exactly. To be able to skip various stages, eliminate the other stages of the chain and come back to the receiver, it's a really useful diagnostic tool, if nothing else. Yeah, but it's a very useful feature that was missed. So that's a change.
And that's only on the 500 series?
Only on the 500 series, yeah.
So, obviously the Sennheiser have the very popular AVX system,
Yes.
which is their digital
Yes.
system, and your digital system.
Yes.
How do you think the difference is between the two? I mean, obviously analog versus digital, that's an argument that we've gone through many, many, many times, and there's not one tool that's better than the other, they're just different. When do you recommend people to be using this analog system?
So there are a lot of situations where AVX is exactly the right tool for the job. And certainly the ease of use of AVX is a fantastic thing. There are one or two things you can't do. With a digital system, with AVX, you can't, for example, have duplicate receivers. But with an analog system such as this, we can have multiple duplicate receivers. And if we want to operate many, many links, then an analog system such as the G4 is the perfect solution. So it gives a great deal of flexibility. It's very difficult to pick one against the other without knowing the use case.
I guess it comes down to mentality, really, doesn't it? What's more important to you as a user? Is it simplicity and ease of use, or is it sort of control and being flexible?
I think there's an element of that, yeah, definitely. You've got a little bit more control, a little bit more flexibility. On the other hand, for some users, that's a greater opportunity to tie themselves in knots. So.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously these are visually quite different. They're a bit more of a modern design. But what are some of the more nitty-gritty differences? Okay,
so the major differences, as I mentioned with the 500 receiver, the main differences are in the 500 series. So the 100 series is much more similar to its predecessor 100 series. With the 500 series, we've got a few changes. The maximum transmit power on the G3 series was 30 milliwatts. On the 500 series G4, we've got 50 milliwatt transmit power. It's not a lot more, but we are on a body pack system under the UK licensing regime, for example, we're allowed 50 milliwatts on a body pack. So we've got that option now in the G4.
So for a bit more simple, sort of layman's terms, what difference is that going to make for people?
Quite honestly, it doesn't. The immediate reaction, a lot of people will think it's going to make a huge difference to range. It doesn't. From 30 to 50 milliwatts is not a huge difference in range, but it can make the link a little bit more solid.
Yeah.
So even at
Transmission stability.
Transmission stability, yeah, just a little bit more security in that transmission. And the reason we're allowed that extra power with body worn is because the human body absorbs quite a lot of RF. So you need the extra bit of power.
Okay, so then we've got a plug-on transmitter as well?
Yes, we've still got the 100 series plug-on transmitter. The 100 series plug-on transmitter doesn't have phantom power, so that's ideal for any dynamic mic or a condenser mic that has a battery in it to power it. But if you want a plug-on transmitter to provide phantom power, then we have the 500 series plug-on now, so the SKP 500 G4, which can provide 48 volt phantom power from its 2 AA batteries. So that's been reintroduced, if you like. And the only other sort of visible change that people will notice on this part of the G4 range is that the display has been changed to make it slightly clearer and more up to date.
A bit easier to use.
A bit easier to use, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.